2024年4月7日、日本時間、前日のアメリカ時間4月6日、ロサンゼルス、ドジャースはトロント、ブルージェイズとの一戦で単なる勝利を超えたあり方を示した。14得点、17安打、5本塁打。その数字は派手だが、真に印象的だったのは、9回中7イニングで得点を重ねた持続的な攻撃だった。爆発ではなく、波のように押し寄せる圧力。ダルトン、ラッシング、フレディ、フリーマン、テオスカー、ヘルナンデスらがつなぎ、打線はどこからでも機能する、隙のない構造を体現した。中でもラッシングは4安打2本塁打と躍動。だがその本質は、無駄を削ぎ落としたスイングと、自らの役割への理解にある。出場機会の多少ではなく、準備の質こそが結果を生む、その静かな証明だった。先発ジャスティン、ロブレスキーもまた、万全でない中から立て直し、勝利へと導いた。不完全さの中で結果をつかむ力は、成長の証である。レーブ、ロバーツ監督が語る、ネクストマンアップ。負傷者がいても、誰かが埋める。このチームは子ではなく、連なりとして機能する。一方、マックス、シャーザーの不調を抱えたブルージェイズは、個への依存の脆さを露呈した。これは一つの勝利ではない。ドジャースは示した。勝利とは、点数ではなく、揺るがぬ、組織の形、そのものだと。
Welcome to Access Sportsnet Dodgers, brought to you by Mercury Insurance. John Hartung alongside Jerry Hurston Jr., Nomar Garcia partner. We billed this as a World Series rematch, but we didn't get any of that high drama. There was no stress from me or for all the Dodger fans because the Dodgers just absolutely put it on the Blue Jays in this game. They scored 31 runs over the weekend in Washington, D.C., 14 more tonight. They scored in 7 of the 9 innings, Jerry. They lead the league in home runs. They hit 5 more tonight.
Just love their approach. I mean, obviously we know this team has tremendous amount of talent, but when they put together at bats like they did really the last 4 nights, they are tough to beat. Dalton Rushing, have yourself a night.
It really was up and down the lineup. Everybody getting it done. And as you mentioned, I really liked the stat. 7 scored in 7 of the 9 innings. It wasn't just one big inning and that was it, and then it just kind of went quiet, and then it was just consistently just putting the pressure on, finding ways to get guys on, scoring some runs. That's what I really like about the offense today. Just collectively, it's fun to watch, and they just put it to them.
They certainly did, and Jerry mentioned Dalton Rushing, a 4-for-4 night with not 1, but 2 home runs, and he's standing by in Toronto with Kirsten Watson.
Well, Dalton, you had quite the day at the plate. 4 hits, 2 of those happened to be home runs. I know a big thing for you has just been consistency to get those results. What did it say as to where your swing is at right now?
Yeah, it's in a good spot. Sadly, it's only downhill from here. But, no, it was a great day. I'm glad we could obviously get the bats going. Everyone did their part. Pitchers did a great job establishing the strike zone and just getting us through quick innings, you know. And, yeah, let's carry it on tomorrow.
I don't think it can be downhill from here, considering you had a big home run yesterday as well.
It's a good streak. We're going to ride the wave and see how it goes in the next few days.
You talked about the pitching, Justin Robleski. Just what you saw from him in that first inning of work, the pitch count got up, how he bounced back. How would you describe just how you two navigated through this outing?
Yeah, shaky first. That's just a testament to the competitor that he is. He wanted to up his standard a little bit moving forward after the first, and he did so. It was a good quality outing for him. He ate the innings that we needed him to do and let the bullpen do their thing and Miggy get his first fake save, you know?
Yesterday, you told us that there were no holes in this lineup, and I think we could even include Miggy on the mound. No holes with that either, but when it comes to that, 17 hits, I mean, how does today's performance offensively just continue to prove that point?
Yeah, I think, like I said yesterday, it's just kind of carrying on factor. The guys that play every single day to the guys that play twice a week. It's they just kind of lead us in the right way, and hitting is contagious, you know. So, like I said, the offense looks good, and hopefully we can just carry it over.
There's obviously a lot of memories being back here. Just how special is it for you to have this performance today on this field in Rogers Center?
Yeah, it's sweet. I didn't get the opportunity to play here last year. I was here. I was part of it. But, no, I was glad to kind of leave my part and just have some fun on the field today.
A big one. Congratulations on this one, Dalton.
Thank you so much.
5 homers tonight in order. Teoscar, then Freddie, Shohei, Dalton Rushing did it twice. These 4 guys combined to knock in 10 of the Dodgers' 14 runs. And Nomar, we talked about it in the pregame show, how this team was really swinging the bats well coming into the series and how
the big numbers as we see in the last 4 nights. It is so fun to watch. But I'm also loving it's not just the superstars. Guys are contributing. Alex Call's contributing. Obviously, Dalton Rushing coming in the last 2 nights and really put on a show with the bat.
How about his son Kim, 2 for 4 today? First start, gets called up, does exactly what he's supposed to do. It's spring, goes down, keeps swinging the bat well. There it was. Everybody.
Maybe the Dodgers just needed to wear the road Dodger blues, Jerry, because they had never worn them on the road in franchise history. And then they wore them the first game in D.C. They scored 13 runs, brought them back tonight for the first game of this series. They scored 14 runs.
They're going to be wearing that jersey quite a bit this season. I'm kind of upset we didn't get a chance to wear the Dodger blue jersey because they are absolutely fire, especially with the gray. Love seeing that. Yes, that Dodger blue.
What do you guys say as players? Look good, feel good, play good?
Play good, yes.
Clearly, they like the way they look.
The play good part was always hard for me to do.
All right, let's head back to the booth in Toronto. Check in one final time with Joe Davis and Oral Hershiser.
Well, the Dodgers, from one offensive explosion to another on this road trip, biggest one yet, 14 runs in the first game against the Blue Jays.
Yeah, when you're talking about 17 hits, it's season high. 14 runs, it's a season high. 5 home runs in a game, I think it's season high. And 2 from Dalton Rushing. When you're using kind of some of your spare parts and you don't have Will Smith in there, you don't have Miggy in there, guys that have super memories in this stadium, it was a very nice night.
So this one obviously turned into a laugher. Tomorrow, though, that's awesome. When you look at the pitching matchup, Yamamoto against Gausman.
Gausman's throwing the ball maybe the best he has in his career for 2 starts, and Yamamoto has not had a Yamamoto outing yet. Right. He's been solid for him, but we're all of a sudden expecting something special here tomorrow.
All right, game 2 of the series, Dodgers and Blue Jays. Dodgers 4-0 on this road trip.
A little bit, so a different type of spin. That's why the ball may have moved late and he's able to make that play. Great concentration.
We know Freddie Freeman always enjoys going back to Canada to play baseball. Had a home run tonight, and he's standing by with Kirsten and the media.
Freddie, early in that national series, you said you weren't too happy with the swing, but ultimately you got there, did some different drills. How have you found just kind of maintaining that, especially with these results as of late?
Yeah, I mean, obviously results are going to make you feel better about yourself. Just trying to do the same work routine that I've been doing the last few days before the games and before practice, and things have been, starting to fall a little bit more. There's still one didn't fall, but it's okay. Better results lately.
With this offensive performance from the group, I mean, how do you just kind of put to words where this team is at and how you guys are really feeding off of each other offensively?
That's what I was about to say. We're feeding off each other. Teo getting big, getting runs on the board in the first inning. Andy staying hot. Let's not talk about it. Let's just let him keep going. Dalton, huge game. Everyone just, doing their part. Shohei, Kyle working walks, getting on base, sack flies, moving guys over, getting them in. It was just a quality game on both sides of the ball today. Justin was great. Bullpen came in, did the great job, played great defense, and we obviously hit today.
The crowd was fired up before the game. A lot of boos. Did you feel like you just took them out of it?
When you score a lot of runs, you're going to take the crowd out of it. That's just kind of how it goes. Obviously, I think the media and everyone else was a little bit more hyped up than, because it's a new team, new year. We got different guys on our team too, but we obviously understand it's a World Series matchup. But it's just nice that Teo was able to get us on the board. Justin settled down after the first inning. We just kept going on, piling on runs. You said it, not me.
What do you like seeing Dalton have a game like this after what he did last year?
Yeah, I mean, Dalton, I think when I was in here watching the game, Justin Robleski came in and said that's what he did all year in the minor leagues. It's what we heard about what he was doing. A curveball, slider down and in, and to stay through it and hold it and backspin a ball is very hard to do. Usually that's a topspin hook, and he's feeling good and staying through baseballs, getting a lot more trust. We're able to give Will a day off a little bit more than normal. That's huge for us going down the stretch and throughout the course of the year. Dalton's obviously got off to a great start. He calls a good game. He cares about the pregame meetings. He wants to do well behind the plate, call a great game. And it's just nice to see a young guy get success early on in the season.
Do you see more confidence out of him just with the results?
I don't know if Dalton lacks confidence, Pops. And that's a beautiful asset. It really is. It's just nice. He works hard. He cares. And to get results, it is so hard not to play every day. Have timing, have your swing. And what he's been able to do in the first 10, 11 games when his playing has been not as consistent. And, you know, he's got another 2 games in a row, yesterday and today, and he's put great swings on the balls, looks great in the box, confident. So hopefully, you know, that's a huge boost for us with Will going down, you know, the rest of the year.
The Blue Jays. Let's go right back to Rogers Center. Justin Wrobleski, first win as a starting pitcher since August of 2024, is speaking with Kirsten and the media.
All right. Well, Justin, just when you look at kind of your outing today, that first inning, the pitch count got up, but you were obviously very efficient after that. How did you find navigating through that first one, but also kind of maintaining yourself to get back out there?
Yeah, I mean, I think on the whole today was a little bit of a grindy one for me, just from the perspective of feel for some stuff wasn't as good as it normally is. I don't feel like I was as sharp as I normally am, but I think in the first there, just kind of, you know, falling behind, and just kind of theme through the day is just falling behind some guys a little too much, and which leads to some walks. But yeah, it's good to get out of a spot like that, and then, you know, give the team 5, and probably could have went back out for 6 if I wanted to. So I think that's a good place to be, and yeah, I feel good. I'm obviously happy with the result of it, but you know, yeah, there's a lot of things I can do better, so I'm excited to kind of for this next one.
Yeah. What was the conversation, or even just kind of your thought process, especially in between that first and second inning of work?
Yeah, I think it was just kind of get back to attacking, going right at them, and yeah, just letting my stuff play, because I know I can, you know, on any given day beat anybody. So that's kind of the viewpoint on it, is just kind of go out there and be me, and I think I did a better job of that towards the back half of the outing. Just some delivery stuff that I'm still trying to clean up, just a little quick, probably causing some of those misses. So going to look to clean that up this week in the bullpen, and get ready to go back out there.
The fact that you kind of had to grind through it, but still had the results that you did, how much is that a sign of like some of the growth that you've had over the last 12 months or so?
Yeah, I think, you know, that's the big thing for me going into this year was how can I raise the floor, and I think that's been the biggest thing I've been grinding towards, is how can I raise the floor of when I have a tough one, or whenever, like, you know, even last week, like, I threw the ball better than the results were, but, like, again, that could easily have been, you know, more runs than it was. So I think the goal for me really going into this year is to raise the floor, and I think I know what I need to do that. And I think, yeah, it's encouraging to see, you know, still getting results when you have to grind through an outing like this against a really good team over there. So yeah, it was exciting to see. It's fun to see, and yeah, like every outing is a chance to get better and a chance to grow and a chance to learn. So that's what I'm trying to do.
And you guys have said this before, it's okay to pitch to contact. He threw 31 pitches tonight that were swung at by the Blue Jays. Yeah. They only missed on 5 of those swings. They put the ball in play, and he let his defense behind him take care of it.
And especially, we've seen some great plays in this defense, and all around, these guys, they can play, they can pick it. And you know that, and so go out there and attack. And it's so much easier for a defender to go out there and have range and make great plays behind pitchers when they are pounding the strike zone. When they are walking, or they're nibbling on the corners and they're getting deep into counts, all of a sudden your defense range just diminishes. And it's really hard to make great plays, because now you're back on your heels as a defender compared to being on your toes, ready for everything. Like, he's pitching to contact, he's throwing it in the zone, I'm ready to make anything.
I love playing behind pitchers that didn't really strike out a whole lot of guys, but a lot of balls hit the dirt, meaning a lot of ground balls. I play with old school Levon Hernandez, and he'd be like, a lot of action today, kid, a lot of action. Be ready, because he wasn't going to strike anybody out. But that's what you want as an infielder. You want a lot of chances. Zach Greinke, sometimes he'd hump up to 97, but a lot of times he saved his bullets and a lot of ground balls, and you love that as an infielder, a lot of action.
All right, great night for Justin Wrobleski on the mound, and his battery mate Dalton Rushing had a good night behind the plate as well as at the plate with his 2 bombs. Let's hear more from Dalton Rushing with the media.
How much did it help to be able to kind of carry over what you found yesterday into starting today?
Yeah, I was riding a good wave right now, and the highs are great. So sadly, like I said on the field, it's only downhill from here. But I'm going to ride this wave as long as I possibly can, and just glad I could help the team win.
How much reassurance does it give you just to sort of see results at this level, especially to have a hot stretch like this?
Yeah, obviously you as a player, you know what you're capable of. But yeah, to your point, to be able to do it and embrace the moment of it, feel it, physically, emotionally, it felt very good. And yeah, we'll see how we can carry it over.
How was the environment out there?
What's that?
How was the atmosphere?
It was good. I wouldn't say it was Game 6 or Game 7, but no, it was good. These fans, sadly, didn't want to see us come to town, and rightfully so after what we did tonight. But yeah, I think we all just look forward to carrying it over to tomorrow and leave our mark in Toronto once again.
Do you feel like the adjustments that you've made kind of to your setup have helped you like stay ready, as you said, like no matter what the playing time is like?
Yeah, I've simplified a few things and realized I don't have to be perfect to see results, see power results, see slug, and like you said, it showed tonight, but it's only one of 162, you know.
How are you finding that balance mentally of being ready to go but not putting too much pressure on each of that?
Yeah, I would say I guess I learned a lot from last year. Last year mentally I was in a tough spot, playing the role that I was, and just kind of trying to figure out how you play that role. And this year I have a little better understanding. You're not going to show up and have a game like I had tonight. You're not going to show up and get 2 hits every game, whether you're playing every day or you're playing every 3 days. And that was something, maybe it was just a pill I had to swallow a little bit. And once again, I'm just glad I could see results tonight.
Dodgers 14-2 over the Toronto Blue Jays. Let's go back to Rogers Center. Dave Roberts with Kirsten and the media.
Dave, we've seen a continuation just of this offense and how it's kind of broken out. But when they're able to put up 17 hits today, 14 runs, I mean, how do you kind of just describe where the group is at, especially up and down, and then including the bench?
Yeah, we sort of picked back up from yesterday, late in the game, and just the at-bats all around, taking walks, getting hits, passing the baton situationally, really good. Even just early on, getting a guy over, driving him in with the sac fly. Those are things that, run the base as well. And obviously, we threw out a lot of hits today, but, I think we're just doing things the right way and running deeper counts, hitting to the opposite field. And obviously, Dalton had a huge night, so that was good to see. But, everyone, 1 through 9 was really solid.
Dalton, he was just talking to us about some of those, whether mechanical changes, mindset changes, that has put him in a better position to be ready when called upon, understanding the limited playing time. How are you just seeing him continue to evolve into this role, but really not necessarily behind the plate, at the plate?
Yeah, at the plate, I think that he's just slowing down a little bit more. I think his swing is much more simplified, and sometimes when you don't try to do too much, big things happen, and I thought that was the case tonight. He took some really simple swings and elevated, and the ball went out of the ballpark, but he's taking walks, got hit by pitch, and also a couple of singles, so had a great night, and also just what he's done with the guys behind the with the pitchers, how he's handling those guys and earning some trust with those guys. So I was happy we got him in there, back-to-back starts, and that's good for his confidence.
Given that
how hard is it for guys, especially someone who's big of a prospect, to adapt to that mindset and understand that role?
Well, I think it's not easy, but he's got a lot to learn. He's got a lot to learn to be an everyday catcher for a championship team. And I think that he's reconciling that in his brain to understand that, there's a lot you can learn from watching. And I think that he's really taken to that, and it's just going to make him a better player for a long period of time. And, I think that, is he talented enough to be an everyday catcher in the big leagues? Absolutely. But there are some mistakes that we can't afford to have. And I think that the at-bat quality will continue to get better. The preparation for game planning and the fingers will get better. And the relationship with the pitchers will get better. And all that stuff takes time. And so he's got no one better to learn from than Will Smith.
Given the hype, is this about as efficient as you could have imagined for taking out a crowd from the game?
Yeah. Obviously the crowd was capacity. They were excited, looking forward to, seeing us and seeing this rematch. And it was good to see that, we took them out of it early. And I don't know what happened to Max, but, obviously that's not what they had drawn up, as far as to have their starter go 1 inning, and they try to piece it together as best they could.
What was your anxiety level compared to the last time you were here?
Yeah, it was probably a 10, in October, and it was probably a 1 tonight. Just coming here and, knowing it's early and we're playing good baseball and you're excited about the series, but it's not a win or go home series or anything like that.
Higgs, new seat. I like it.
I'm trying new things. John, given Shirley wanting a bounce back coming into that stretch, coming into this, what do you take away from a loss like that?
Loss is a loss, and you got to move past it. And at the whole thing, you got to get the offense going. Feels like there's been bases loaded in almost every game with 2 outs, I feel like, and you need someone to get the big hit. You can't rely on everyone, or excuse me, you can't rely on Vlad or George or whoever it is. You got to kind of get that hit and kind of pop that balloon, if you will. And it was a tough night overall. I think from the mound to the batter's box. So again, we got to rely on kind of moving on to tomorrow, and hopefully get a good start from Kev.
Was Max sick as well, or did something happen there?
No, he's dealing with a little forearm tendonitis. Kind of talked about it the last couple days, and even this morning and this afternoon. So we kind of had an idea, maybe a little shorter for him. I think the positive side is that it didn't feel any worse. And, with where we're at right now with our rotation, you lose Cody and you got Hosey and Beebs and Trey not here right now. Going to be extra careful. And Max is brutally honest. That's one of his many great qualities. So, I don't want to say very, but quite fairly confident he'll make his next start. And that was kind of the thinking in taking him out when we did.
John, at one point he looked into the dugout and said, "I'm okay." Mm-hmm. Was he feeling the forearm tendonitis in the previous inning, and was he saying he's going to try to kind of grind it out for another inning?
Just kind of, I told him just to kind of keep me updated in the moment if he could, myself and Pete, and it's kind of what we expected. Again, I think even if he felt great, you know what I mean? It sucks to say, but we have a lot of games left, and we can't really afford to lose anyone, in the rotation right now. So him saying I'm okay was kind of like, hey, I'm good for what I have right now.
And is there anything going on with Nathan Lucas in that type of ball game? You would expect him to come in for Varsh. Mm-hmm. Is he feeling under the weather as well?
No, he's fine. I kind of want. I mean, I didn't know till right before the inning that Rojas was coming in. I want Varsh to continue to swing. I want him to kind of get going. And no, nothing wrong with Nate. He'll be in there tomorrow. I think there's part of it is you want certain guys to kind of get going, and you never know when that's going to be. And part of it is I want the guys that are focal points of our team to stay out there and stand up and take a punch on the chin when you have to and say, hey, we're okay. I'm not going to sit here and cower, and Varsh is one of those guys.
John, last year you guys fostered like a next man up mentality, and the injuries have hit you guys pretty hard to start this season. How do you feel like you guys are fostering that again this year? Or if not, how do you kind of get that back?
Yeah, you have to. I think we are really. Again, I feel like at times I'm over positive in times like this where it's it's no secret it's not working right now, and better now than in July or August or whatever you want to call it. We're 10 games into the season, and if we sit here and dwell on it, that's when shit snowballs, and you can't dwell on 30 at bats, 40 at bats for guys. They'll get going, but it has to be next man up. It has to do, continue to do what you're supposed to do and move on to the next day. If we get caught up in it, then that's where you kind of look around and you say, wow, I don't want the woe is me. You know what I mean? I said it a couple days ago. It's what can we do now? We're going to continue to think that way, continue to work that way. And there's going to be games where it doesn't work out. You know what I mean? And there's going to be games where it does work out and you lose. There's going to be games where it may not work out and you win, but you have to keep the big picture in mind. And, right now, I think not just our depth is being tested, our kind of like, our creativity is being tested as a group, like how are we going to cover this? What are we going to do? It's not always perfect, but I think we take a lot of pride in that, and the players do too. And for, the last 5 games, it's been really tough, but they're in a good frame of mind. I think they've all been through enough, and they're all old enough and mature enough to say, hey, this is not going to define our season right now. If you get caught in that, quicksand, and then you look around and you say, look who's missing and look who's hurt, then that's when you can really kind of start to lose it.
I think it was any kind of gamesmanship at the end, them having Rojas pitch.
No, they've done that before. We've done that where, I don't know what their schedule looks like, but you want to save arms. We're in the same boat right now, and games like that. No, I think that they've done that. I think they've done that quite a bit with Kike. And he's out there wearing the helmet and things like that. But no, Doc's too much of a professional to do that or anything like that. I mean, he had Tucker in there, Teo in there. He took Freddie out because Freddie's getting a little old. Still really good, but I think more.
John, just a bit more on the timeline with Max. When did that tendonitis first emerge? Did he come out of his last start with it?
It was probably a day or two after that, I think. He threw his normal side in between and then was kind of feeling it a little bit. And he's hyper aware of it, and he's hyper open about how he's feeling. Guy's 41, he's going to be 42, so there's going to be some things that pop up, that's part of it. And I think him understanding how to navigate, just right now with where we are, where the season is, where we want to go, he was just really open about it in the last probably 36 hours.
Major going on, I've been dealing with kind of this, little issue for a couple weeks, but it's never been presenting when I've been throwing the ball. It's actually hurt more when I'm at home than when I'm actually throwing a baseball. And I've been off the mound that, on this turn where I could start feeling it when I was throwing a baseball. Yesterday when I played my day before catch, I could tell, it was still tight coming out of that start. And had a conversation, with the staff and saying, look, we got an issue, got to think about this. Over that came to today and, thought the best course, because I didn't want to go to the IL. I just don't think this is an IL issue where I need to miss 2 starts. I think, I just needed to guard it today. And so we kind of came up with a plan. At most I would do is 3 innings, 50 pitches. That would have been the most I would have done today. And so after the second inning, I didn't throw a bad pitch. I didn't do any damage to it. I was just sitting there. And I was like, what's going to be the value of this third inning? Is this going to help us or hurt us, or is this going to hurt more for potentially pitching this weekend? And I thought the best thing to do is to worry about the weekend, protect myself, and so that's why I came out of the game.
Max, how do you get through this stretch, continuing to pitch while ideally knocking out the numbers?
Yeah, a reduced start like today should really help. Allow me to really get underneath this, get all the treatment into it, all the anti-inflammatories, take all those, and that should hopefully knock this out. So, like I said, I'm not long-term concerned here. I had an issue, just prevented me from making a full start today. Didn't throw a bad pitch where it got worse. I actually came out of this. Right now, the form's not. It didn't lock up on me, so hopefully all the good decisions that happened today pay off this weekend.
Just to be clear, did you feel it in the last start, or was after the last
No,
start?
after, like the next day. So there wasn't anything that happened in the Rocky start where I made a bad pitch. So was never going to put, given the state of our team, right, our pitching staff, those were explicit directions. Like, you cannot hurt yourself. You can't take any undue risk. And so, I'd much better be talking about today after this start, a little forearm tendonitis versus, a forearm strain. So we're not talking about that. So that's where my head was at.
Does this mean no side before your next start? No, just treatment?
No, I'll have to throw a bullpen before I make another start. I just got to do the treatment, and hopefully having a reduced start today, only throwing 2 innings, lightens the load on it, allows it to breathe, give it a couple days here, and then kind of get get through this and get over it. So I don't think it's a major issue, just something that needs to be addressed. But my mind is that I'm going to be making my next start.
Is this something you've dealt with before?
I mean, you talk to enough pitchers, you're going to deal with tendonitis at some point. And that's how it presents. At times it can loosen up. I came in today, was able to get it to loosen up enough to be able to go out there and pitch, but it was just an issue. It was still tight, and given the nature of forms and how dangerous that can be, just knew how limited I was going to be at best.
Max, for a guy who's been in as many seasons as you have, you guys have been hit pretty hard with injuries in the first couple games this season. What is the key for a team kind of getting through and still winning despite all this?
I mean, it's just next man up mentality. The next guy that comes in, gets his opportunity, has a chance to go out there and showcase their stuff and try to help the team to win. Obviously, first time through the rotation, we were all playing good baseball, and now the second time, as a team, everybody, we're not getting the job done. So, hopefully next time out, Goss goes tomorrow. Hopefully we get a good start out of him and get this thing rolling in the direction that we want to.